Good morning. How are you today? I had to pick up some medicine for my pup, and so I'm near Purcellville, Virginia, and there's a great place to walk there. And I thought for a change of scenery, I'd march along a different road path, which was for where the train tracks were in Purcellville. It's used for bikes, running, walking. I don't think I've ever seen horses on here, but that wouldn't surprise me. I think that one of the first things we're still talking about, and will for some time, is Afghanistan. And I've seen articles about our humiliation. And I could dig down, I suppose, and find questionable assertions once we decided to go in between why we said we were there and what we really did while we were there. But there's also no question that over 20 years, we did what we could to train their military and to rebuild their villages and to help with the individual liberties of women in a state that extols its fundamentalist religion. So all of those were contributions. And I think that if Afghanistan managed to mislead us and commit a fraud, that they could sustain themselves when we left, I don't know how much of that we should be held accountable for having been defrauded ourselves. I don't think that's a humiliation to help other people. Now, having said that, it's hard to believe, given the expanse of the breakdown when we did leave, that we had no idea and no clues that this was the case. Our humiliation and embarrassment, if there is any, is why we didn't plan ahead to help those get out who had helped us. You know, we talk about the interpreters, but there are many more people than that. And we're hearing stories now from military men and women who are stationed there, who are the last hope of some people to get out of Afghanistan. So we trusted our partners for 20 years, and we find out that perhaps it was misplaced. So that's that story. The next thing is how we're going to live going forward right now. And you know, if we could all be on a trail like this, you know, so beautiful. And I think it's all the more verdant and pleasant because this is kind of a rainy day and there are drops falling on me you can't see. And so the greens are richer, the sunlight doesn't blaze out the effect of the woods. So if we could all have access to something like this all the time, it would be terrific. If we all believed what the science tells us, we might not be confronting booster shots. And the theory is that we're going to have to get boosters after the 2 vaccines that we had, 8 months after our last vaccine, to help protect us, at least from the severity of an infection should we get one. There are so many breakthrough infections now, meaning people who've been vaccinated are getting ill. So that's well, you know, we keep hoping for the silver bullet. Killing the vaccine. We hunkered down, we took a vaccine. Those of us who were cautious watched a little bit and have basically not changed a lot of our practices. Those of us who can work from home or are lucky enough to be in the country, we have more degrees of freedom to get out, but it affects everybody. The notion that you can only do certain things affects everybody. So does the government know what it's doing? I don't think that's the problem as much as we have a foe that we learn things about. And the non-vaccinated people have put us all at risk because they have fed the beast. And now we have a variant, and it is proven, as was predicted was possible, is more virulent, more dangerous than what we started with, COVID-19. So the Delta variant is even riskier for us. So what do we do about that? And the answer is we have to revert to our origins. Forget about herd immunity. That's not going to happen. And I think that we have to take a look politically at anyone who is telling anyone else you don't need to be vaccinated or masked. Plainly, we need to do both. And we're not. And we're not because there are some people who are not doing this. And the worst of it all is we have Republicans instructing them not to vaccinate, not to wear masks, and not requiring it, and then trying to violate mandates to do that. So I have a suffocation policy, political suffocation. And it goes like this. If we have to take severe steps to make ourselves safe medically and physically, we should also take severe steps to protect us politically. Now, we have had enough time. We've had two impeachments and an assault on the Capitol. We have had enough time, data points, for Republicans to say, I'm going to preserve and protect the Republic. I'm going to preserve and protect the people. I'm going to be faithful to my oath. And they haven't. So this is my political suffocation policy, to deny the air to the Republican Party at every level of government. And by that I mean, if someone announces for the school board in your district and they say they're a Republican, that's it. They can't be supported. I don't care how friendly they look. I don't care what nice things they say. You vote against them. And you argue for maybe any opponent or run yourself. We cannot have these kinds of Republicans in our government. Now you may say there are other Republicans who are better than that. Well, if they don't take over their party before the next election, they should run as independents or Democrats who are former Republicans with the freedom to return to the Republican Party when the Republican Party returns to its roots and has America first, as they keep saying, has democracy first, as they must say, because that's our form of government, and the will of the people first, not their selfish eagerness to seize power. We could add more things, but these are the highlights. And the final thing, besides the Republicans, is our law enforcement arm. There's a story in the papers today, I saw one in the Washington Post. Durham, who's a U.S. attorney, was assigned during the Trump bar days, basically to investigate the investigation of Trump. And he's gotten some recent information and it's been released to the press to revive him and the argument that, oh, something happened there, you know. We have the Steele dossier and all these other things. Well, that's a long way back in the woods from prosecutions and convictions and a report by Mueller about obstruction of justice and people who were independently convicted having nothing to do with the Steele dossier or these things. So, what's the remedy? Garland, get up off your ass. Stop that investigation. And if you're going to look into anything, look into how that was assigned, because you can be sure it was just about the same way that the acting Attorney General Rosen was told to tell the world that there was a fraudulent election when he had no proof at all. And at least he didn't do it, nor did he tell us about it. So that's number one. Close down this bastard. But the second thing is open a grand jury. Open a grand jury and protect the democracy by investigating those people who made January the 6th. And don't spend all your time on the next 600 rioters. Spend your time on the people who are in the West Wing. Spend your time on the people who are in the Hill. Spend your time on the people who are intelligence. And if you don't know where to start, take those 10 counts that Mueller came up with of obstruction of justice and prosecute those. If you're in Georgia and can help the Fulton County prosecutor, help her prosecute Trump for interfering in the Georgia election. If you're an assistant in the Southern District of New York, get off your ass and ask the U.S. Attorney why you're not prosecuting these cases. And resign if they're not willing to do it. Show some courage. What we have now is we have moral cowardice. Moral cowardice. No profiles in courage. And this isn't even courage. This is just doing your damn job. So, maybe it's the cars that I can hear. I don't normally hear them, so they're annoying me. So anyhow, that's my pitch for the day, and I hope you're well. And tomorrow I'll be back on the trails near my house. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.